Hello. Today, we are going to study simple past tense. What is simple past tense? The simple past, also called past simple, is a tense which is used to show that a completed action took place at a specific time in the past. Look at the timeline here. This is me, and I'm waving you hand in the present time, now. If I want to talk about the continuing time, it's future tense. It's future. But today we're going to talk about the actions, the events which started and finished in the past. We call it past tense. Here on the timeline, we have some activities started and finished in the past. Let's see these events. The use of past simple. We were at the fair last weekend. We rode the big wheel. The activity started and finished in the past. We played football after school yesterday. It was yesterday. So the action started and finished yesterday. And on the last activity, I played the guitar for my friends. And also this activity started and finished sometime in the past. And we are talking about the past events now. The actions started and finished at a specific time in the past tense. Let's see more about simple past tense. We talk about situations, existence, positions, etc. that were in the past. How? We have got two helping words for these kinds of explanations in the past. These are was and were. I was, you were, he was, we were, she was, they were, it was. When we make positive sentences, we use was and were with the following pronouns, like in these. And when we make negative sentences, we use as wasn't or weren't. Let's see how do we use with them with pronouns. I wasn't, you weren't. He wasn't, we weren't. She wasn't, they weren't. And it wasn't. And of course, we also make sentences to talk about the actions, the events in the past. How do we make sentences when we talk about the past activities? We talk about activities began and finished in the past. We use past forms of the verbs. We shortly call them verb to in positive sentences. The helping verb is did. And for negative sentences, we use it as didn't. And when we make questions, we use did helping verb in the beginning of the sentence. In the past form of verb to, the past form of verb to, we use it in positive sentences, like I played football, ed, played. This is the verb to form of play. It didn't rain last night. This is a negative sentence. We use didn't and rain, no ed. Didn't rain. Still in past tense, but it's a negative sentence. Did Martin go to university? This is an interrogative question. And when we make a question in past, we also use did, and it's in the beginning of the sentence. We use did and go. And here, when we make some sentences about situations, existence, positions in the past, these are some examples. I was in Antalya last year. I'm only talking about where I was last year, but not what I did. Existence. It wasn't cold yesterday. I'm talking about the weather yesterday and how the weather was yesterday. In the question form, of course, we use were or was in the beginning of the sentence. Were you at the university 3 months ago? In this sentence, we have no activities. We just ask about where was the person 3 months ago. We have got two forms of the verbs which are used in simple past tense. These are regular verbs and irregular verbs. Regular verbs are used with past tense additions. These additions in past tense are d, ed in general, but we also use ied. Let's see, how do we use the additions? D is the general past tense addition, and it is used for verbs ending with e. For example, save. The verb finishes in e, and we use d addition. It changes as saved. Leave as well, finish in e, and we add d, and it changes as lived in verb 2. Believe, believed, the same rule. We add ed addition when the verbs ending in a consonant, like y, n, k, s, c, any consonants. Stay. The verb finishes with a consonant, y. So, when we use past tense addition, we say stayed. Stayed is verb 2. Clean, a consonant, and we add ed. Cleaned, verb 2. Pick, k is consonant, and we add ed as picked. Picked is verb 2 here. And ied is the third addition, we can say, and it's used for the rule why. How? If any verb in English finishes with two consonants, and one of them, the last one, is y, like carry, we omit y, it changes into I, and add ed. And it changes as ied. Carried. Cry also finish with two consonants, and we omit Y. It changed into I. And cried. Cried also a regular verb to form. And we add IED. So, regular verbs change with D, ED, IED, and they become verb to. They become past tense. But irregular verbs don't have a rule. Irregular verbs are not changing according to a rule. They change as in the list below. We have some of the irregular verbs here. The base form means there is no addition. Base form. But when we use it in past form, in short, verb to, go changes as went. There is no rule for this. Go, went. Come changes as came. See, saw. Eat, ate. Drink, drank. Fly, flew. Teach, taught. Fall, fell. Learn can change in two different ways. Learned or learned. Catch, caught. Take, took. Speak, spoke. Buy, both. Sell, sold. Make, made. Do, did. Read, it is written same, but reading is different. Read, read. The pronunciation changes. Be careful with this. So again, there is no rule for irregular verbs when they change into past form. Here in the list, these are base forms of the verbs. These verbs can be regular or irregular. Now let's match them with their verb to forms, past tense forms. Let's see the first one, need. It's a regular verb and it changes as needed. Get is irregular and it changes as got. Wake, woke, irregular. Lose, lost, irregular. Be, was, were, irregular. Rain, rained, regular. Leave, left, irregular. Use, used, regular. Mix, mixed, regular. Have, had, irregular. Call, pardon, throw, through, irregular. Call, cold, regular. See, saw, irregular. Tell, told, irregular. Run, ran, irregular. Go, went, irregular. Enjoy, enjoyed, regular. Paint, painted, regular. Do, did, irregular. And take, took, also irregular. So you can easily find out that regular verbs takes D, ED, or IED, and you can easily find the regular and irregular verbs. Let's learn much. We use was, were, when we make sentences in past tense. These sentences with was and were express the position, existence, or situations in the past. Let's have a look at the following sentences. I was ill yesterday. In this sentence, we explain my health situation only, not an activity, just my health situation. The weather was really cold last week. Giving knowledge about the weather condition, but not any actions. Where were you last night? I'm asking about the existence or the situation of someone here. not what he did. Rick wasn't with me. He was at home. Here we're talking about Rick's existence at somewhere, but we're not expressing what he did. Was your father in New York last weekend? Also, we're talking about father's existence in a city, but not what he did. You weren't at school this morning. Again, we talk about you at school, your existence at school. Jillian was my best friend and I was at high school. And in this sentence also, we're talking about Jillian's situation and her existence. In these sentences, we also used past tense, but in these sentences, we are talking or mentioning about verbs, actions, activities. And when we talk about activities, we must use some words of the activity. For example, I washed my hands before lunch. I'm talking about what I did before lunch, my activity before lunch. It was washing hands. So I said, I washed. This is regular verb, so it takes ed and changes as past tense. My mom cooked steak for dinner yesterday. I'm talking about what my mother did for dinner. What did she make for dinner yesterday? She cooked steak. Cook is regular, so it takes ed. Cooked. She did it yesterday. It started and finished yesterday. Dennis took me to the airport last night. Also, we are talking about an activity which was last night. Take is irregular and it changes as took. We met at the mall 2 days ago. Also, we are talking about an action we did yet 2 days ago. What did we do? We met. Meet changes as met. It's irregular verb. These are all positive sentences, and as you can see, in positive sentences, when we are talking about some action, some event, we must use the verbs in past form, in verb to form. But in negative sentences, remember, we must use did in negative form. Didn't, did not, or didn't. So, did verb expresses verb to. It's also verb to. So, when we use did or did not, we don't use a second verb to in the sentence. Like, I didn't wash. Did, past tense, but wash, it's in base form, no ed. I didn't wash my face before lunch. My mom didn't cook steak for dinner yesterday. You can see the differences here. In positive form, washed, but in negative, we use did and it changes as wash. My mom cooked. We have a verb to here in positive, but when we make it negative, we use did, didn't in negative, and of course, did is verb to, and we say cook, not cooked. Also, we do the same changes in these sentences. Dennis didn't take me to the airport, not didn't took. Wrong. Took is in positive sentence. Take is in negative sentence because we have didn't. We didn't meet at the mall, not didn't met. Be careful. Of course, when we make interrogative, means question sentences, we use did as well. And when we use did, we don't need a second verb to. Did you wash your face before lunch? Did your mom cook steak for dinner? Did Donis take you to the airport? Did you meet at the mall 2 days ago? I hope you understood the difference. We're going to practice them, and I'm sure you're going to learn it better. When we talk about past tense activities or past tense sentences in the past, we use some time expressions. Some of these and mostly used time expressions are yesterday, last, ago. And also we can use for today. For example, this morning. This morning is past, so we can say this morning. Or this afternoon, if we are in the evening, so we can mention it as this afternoon because we lived that time. But the mostly used time expressions are yesterday, last, and ago. We use yesterday at the end of the sentences. We can use it alone, or we can use with another time word. Yesterday morning, yesterday evening, yesterday afternoon, like yesterday night. But mostly we don't say yesterday night, we say last night, like this. I didn't go to the shopping mall yesterday. Did Mark call you yesterday morning? Last isn't used alone. We must use another time word after last, like last year, last night, last Saturday, last season, last birthday, last Christmas, but not only last. Sandra finished high school last year. We went to Rick's party last night. Ago is another time expression, and it's not used alone as well. But this time, we use the time word or phrase before ago. 2 hours ago, a few minutes ago, 5 years ago, 3 months ago, a second ago, any usings. Where did you go 2 hours ago? I finished my breakfast a few minutes ago. We can also indicate the past year, century, like in 1998. This is a past year. In the 19th century, it's a past century. In the 1970s, we're talking about 70s, the whole year, the whole time of 70s. We can also say the teacher did the test the day before yesterday. We're talking about 2 days ago. We can use like this, the day before yesterday, or 2 days ago. Let's go on. Here we have got some sentences, some examples about past tense. We are going to see the sentences, the using of the expressing to express the activities or other things in the past. Let's look at the first picture. Mr. Adams worked late last night. We're talking about last night, so we said worked, past activity. They rode their bikes near the river. They rode. Riding began in the past and finished in the past. They're not riding their bikes now, but they rode their bikes near the river. Maybe yesterday, maybe 2 hours ago, maybe last weekend, but before. I visited the National Museum last week. This activity is also in the past. It began in the past and finished in the past. So I say visited, finished activity. When? Last weekend. Angela had a picnic with her family last Sunday. We're talking about Angela's last Sunday activity. It happened last Sunday. And now we're talking about Angela's picnic. Angela had a picnic with her family last Sunday. The children played in the playground for a few hours this afternoon. Look, this afternoon passed. We're talking it now, it's in the evening maybe, or a few hours later. And we're talking about the children's activity in the past. They played, finished. Sammy went to school on foot. This is Sammy. We're talking about his activity, started and finished in the past. So we say Sammy went to school on foot. They were at a party yesterday. We are talking about their situation, existence at somewhere. Not what they did, but they talk about where they were yesterday. They were at a party yesterday. Were also expresses the situation's existence in the past, remember. They met at a cafe after school yesterday. You can see the friends here in the cafe. And this was yesterday, not today. So we're talking about their activity yesterday. We say met. It finished. They met at a cafe. And in the last picture, we went to the cinema and watched a new movie. This activity also started and finished sometime in the past, not now. So we went and watched. Both are in past tense. Now, let's try together. In these exercises, I want you to make your own guesses about the answers. I will give you some time to give your own answer, then I will give the answer. Complete the sentences with the past tense of to be. Remember, to be verbs in past are was and were. So you're going to use was or were. Try the first one. We in Australia last summer. Okay, what could it be? Was or were? Okay, of course it's were. We were. The second one, she in the class when I saw her. We use, of course, was in the class when I saw. I'm sure you did it right. Let's try the third one. It, that's right, was my birthday last week. Try the fourth one now. Okay, the man was in the train. Very well. You're doing good. It's a delicious apple. Got the answer? It was a delicious apple. This is a question, and in the questions, also we can use was and were. And for you, yes, that's right. Were you in the bookshop this afternoon? It was my little sister's doll when she was small. They Very good. Were all good students when they were at high school? What was that? He was my brother. You did well, guys. Now let's try to make some sentences. We're going to rewrite the sentences into the past tense. Then write a negative and a question. Look at the example here. I'm at home. In this sentence, we express present tense. We're talking about present tense. I want you to rewrite this sentence in past form. And it changes, I was at home. It finished. I'm not at home now. Or when we say it in negative form, I say, I wasn't at home. Or, was I at home? Of course, in a dialogue, we can say, were you at home? Very well. I think you understood what you are going to do. Let's do it. He is my friend. When we say it in the past, how does it change? Make your guess. Okay, I can hear what you said. Okay, he was my friend. Very good. Now let's make it negative. Of course, it changes. He wasn't my friend. And when we make it a question, it's, was he my friend? Very well, students. And second one, they are 15. They were 15 when we make it in the past. They weren't 15 when we say it in the past. And in question, were they 15? Jessie is French. Jessie was French. Jessie wasn't French. Was Jessie French? Well done. And in all of these exercises, we just talked about the situation's existence or other things, but not activities, not actions. Now let's talk about actions. Write the following sentences in the past tense, in positive, negative, or question form. This is your homework. Please try it well, and I'm sure you're going to do it well. Let's see the first one. He goes to bed early. This is simple present tense, and when we say it in past, goes changes went. He went to bed early. We don't like onions. Simple present tense, negative sentence, and it changes, we didn't like onions. Past tense, did. In negative, it changes didn't. And look, like, not liked. Remember? Stuart lives in Vancouver. Stuart lived in Vancouver. And this is a question. See how does it change? Does she exercise? In simple present tense, this changes did. Do and does changes did in past tense. Did she exercise? Not verb to. Be careful. In questions and in negative forms, we use base forms. Please, you try the other exercises by yourself. It's your homework. And also, I listed you some list of irregular verbs. Please learn all of the verbs. It's your homework also. You must memorize the list of irregular verbs. You can learn it by memorizing. I'm sure you will do it well. Thanks for listening my lesson. See you next time.